All right, we're live.
Live.
Do you like that? Hoping people enjoyed the new video we created, and we got a lot more where that comes from as we do more of those. So
Changes to come. So
more to come. Yeah. So
Gary
right.
had the new toy and he's happy about it.
Yeah, that one went pretty well. We're gonna do more. All right. Well, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching on YouTube Live, you can be part of the adventure tonight. Please join us in the chat room. Participate with others as they watch the show. The link to the chat room is on the cachetur.no front page. If you're listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. You get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and by the way, the opening video, that was, if you listen carefully, that was the Travel Bugs did a different version of our theme music for us, and so it was kind of the guitar versions or the easy listening version of the theme. So thought that was pretty cool. Featured patrons this week: Geocaching with Lampe, Dave and Karen of Cache Canada, Team Tailwagger, Black Chrome, Super Nate, The Twonky. More about the Twonky later. Burnt Turtles, Padib, Kazelli, Dragon, and Visiting Vet Tech. And our new patrons, Hoffer15, H2SG2, Bember, The Happy Hodag, saw him in the chat room, Tick Magnet, Sue's Mom, Canterlopes, GSMX2, saw him in there as well. BKQG family, Dog Mom of Two, Trexer, saw that Trexer as well. Trexer05, I think I got that right. I'll be corrected if not. And also Hide Go Seek. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coin. Blackout coin.
Very nice coin.
Yes. And other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content, invites to special events only for patrons. And we've got some special events coming up that we're going to talk about later. Support levels. What's that?
Almost too many things coming up.
Almost too many coming up, I know, which is great. We got so much going on. Support level start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. Let me welcome my co-host, Jesse.
Hey, I'm glad to be back on the mainland.
That's right.
See what I did there? All my Hawaiian stuff.
That's good. Yeah. Never say that you're back in the States because you will make them mad.
Yeah, that's they might get a little mad about that. Back on the mainland. I got it. I got it right.
There you go. You got it right. Very good. So let's jump right into show 156 for July 7th as we discuss cachetur.no. And for folks who are don't know this or not, but we have some of the cachetur.no folks in the chat room tonight. Looking forward to them conversing with everybody. It is 3:05 a.m., Jesse. 3:05 a.m. over there. So
that is some serious dedication.
That is really hardcore, man. Hardcore.
Way past my bedtime.
But they're here with us. So they're going to correct whatever I say that's wrong. I'm sure. We'll see. But yeah, Valena, you're exactly right. Valena loves Cachetur. So very much so. All right, let's get into a little bit of news first. So start us off, Jesse. What do we want to talk about first in the news?
Well, we have so many things going on and coming up in the horizon. It's hard to know what we can say already and what we can't.
Right.
I do know that we have something really, really, really huge that we're really excited about. In 2 weeks, we can let people know about it.
Yes.
Can't really talk about it tonight.
No.
But on the show in 2 weeks from now.
Everything's been signed on the dotted line. We've got all the agreements have been worked out, and we're going to be able to announce it completely in 2 weeks, and we're really looking forward to that announcement. I still, it's like pinch me. I can't. I think I'm dreaming, Jesse.
Is it fair to say that our patrons are going to get to make a lot of people really jealous?
Yes. Yes.
I'm pretty shocked by it too. So, but hey, it's what it is. But we can't dwell on that tonight because we'll talk about it.
No, we'll talk about we can't. So, all right.
Let's get on to what we got. We had a couple. You had an anniversary this week.
Yeah, actually today, exactly 13 years ago today. Susan and I found our first geocache. Can you believe it?
That is crazy.
And it's still now that one. We'll talk about yours here in a second, but that one is still active. How about that for something? 13 years, and you can still go grab that cache. It's over in Marshall, Texas.
And that person into allowing you to adopt it.
Right.
You can own your first cache that you ever found.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe when we get to 15, I can maybe go over there and do a little Periscope or something from there. But so 7706, check it out, man. That was my first cache ever. So
that's very impressive. That's a long time in the game.
It's a long time, but you've been in it a long time too. So
Sort of.
S-
So we had
Sort
this
of.
conversation before the show. So I
Right.
kind of had an anniversary on vacation. Uh, July 1st, 2011 is when I found my second first cache. So,
Yeah, you gotta explain that one.
so I actually found my first cache in 2009. So that would make it 10 years of geocaching. But we don't as a family really count it until 2011 was when we found our second through 8,800th cache or whatever it is. I
Yeah,
don't know, 800th cache.
that crazy number.
Up until today. Um, so 2011 is what we officially recognize in our family as our anniversary, but 2009 is our actual. So 10 years since we found our first cache.
Official geocaching, you're gonna claim 8.
Well, I can't. In our family, we claim 8, but
Right.
if you go to my profile,
It shows 11.
10 years. Yeah, no 10. So
10. So
yeah. So technically 10 years.
10 years. So we're gonna say between the two of us, we've got 23 years. Officially.
The stats, officially, yes.
Officially 23 years between the two of us. Okay. I just want to make sure we get that clear. I want to make sure we get that.
I know. It's one of those weird things, right?
I know, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I'm gonna have to get used to the new format of going back and forth here a little bit. So
all right. Before we start tonight, I think it's fair to say we've talked about this before.
Yep.
This is not a 101 show. So
no.
So if you're looking at it at 101, you might get a little bit over your head, but take your time, listen to what we're doing, because we're going to kind of jump in and do kind of an advance. Gary has become a platinum master.
I don't know about that.
I've used it daily.
I used it. Yeah, I've used it quite a bit. I've done. I don't know how many. I don't know, 100 counties now probably using it. So, but yeah, I've built several tours, and I've learned some things the hard way and also the easy way because cachetur.no, the folks over there, they have such a great customer service. So, and we'll get into that tonight. But we're going to skip over. We're going to mention some of the initial stuff, but we're going to actually get into what I think are good tips and tricks to building a successful. And we're going to plan one tonight. So we're going to all do it together, or well, you can follow along. But we're going to do
basic tutorials on their site, so you can get the basics from there.
Yeah,
we're going to jump right into actually using it. So this is going to be the
yes, and that's what we're going to. I think that's it. Ready to go, right?
Let's do it. I'm excited to learn from you on this one because I only know a little bit about it. Right. So you've been tearing it up with it. So
well, some. So all right.
Do you want to brag a little bit about what you've done with it?
Yeah, we've Susan and I have done a lot of we've done a lot of counties. We're up to our current stats 193 Texas counties found. Most of those have been using Cachetur. We have 61 remaining. We might have 194. We did one on the way home. So I'll show you a quick picture of it's not a spoiler because the information's not there. But Jesse, we went to this location right here.
Oh, is that the largest rocking chair in the world?
It's the largest rocking chair in the world. Check that out.
Sure.
There should be a virtual there. In fact, there might actually be one.
For the audio listeners, what Gary's showing is a picture of him, and he looks like he doesn't even come up to the first rung on the big, huge rocking chair. So I don't even think you could climb up in that rocking chair.
No, you're not allowed to climb on it. But
okay.
But it is. It's Guinness World Record. It's got a little post on there, and it's got the it's got the info. But we stopped there on the way home. Yeah, that rocks. That's good. Yeah.
Why is there not a virtual there?
No, there is a virtual there. Just don't tell anybody.
Oh, I thought you were saying there's only a traditional there.
No. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
There is a virtual there, but I didn't give the information because The information isn't in the picture, which is cool. I like the way they did that.
Yeah.
That was smart, actually. If you're going to build a virtual cache, and we talked about that last week, you want to build your virtual so that it can't be armchaired or rocking chaired in this case.
Right.
You want to build it so that people can't do that. You're shaking your head. Wow. But it's true. You don't want to be able to have people armchair it. I mean, and that's a good example. Oh, Jinxer says she's got that one. All right. There you go. We were
Before
just
we even
there.
get started, there has been a question already.
Okay.
Somebody said that Cache Tour is on your homepage, but it's not on theirs. You may have to have that clarified. I didn't know what it meant, but I didn't want to fly out.
Yeah, one of the things
on homepage, but it doesn't show up on mine.
Yeah,
that's asking that. So, did you put something on there?
That's Tamper Monkey, and we'll talk a little bit about Tamper Monkey. And in fact, let's go ahead and get into that right now. Let me share my screen, and let's get into the whole thing right now. So, all right.
And there's actually a great comment that may help us out with this too.
Oh,
now, I may not be able to pronounce this. It says Rich Rag 88. Yeah. Okay. He says Tamper Monkey is a general purpose extension manager for all common browsers. Install it first and then install the Cache Tour Assistant.
Yes.
That's a perfect segue into what we're about to say. So.
Exactly. Yes. Thanks, Rich Rag 88. He is one of the Cache Tour folks. Thank you so much, Cache Tour, for being involved.
Well,
and we are going
to answer.
Yeah, and we're gonna give away two. We're giving away two items tonight as well. So that's R. Reagan. For those that may are familiar with R. Reagan, he's a frequent guest or frequent chat folk. One of our chat persons. It's in our chat room quite a bit. R. Reagan. So, all right. So let's get into. And I'm going to do this without. So, all right. So let me go back to the first screen. Go back to the dashboard. So cachetur.no, again, it's built. It was there's a cool story, good timeline about it. But the reason it's .no is because it's in Norway. And so in case you're wondering, and but those folks are great. You want to go, and we're not going to get heavy into Tamper Monkey tonight because I know people get confused.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get confused when you take a little bit of time. And if you have a question, you can ask them. Again, we're not going to get into that. That's sort of, like you said, it's a little bit of 101. We're not going to get into that tonight. But get into, go over here, get your Cache Tour Assistant, get your Tamper Monkey built and such, because once you do, and then you go to your geocaching page, it might not be showing up right now.
Well, when you select a cache, it'll show up. Yeah,
normally it'll show up right. It would show up right here.
Yeah, just select any of those caches. It should show up there.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It should show up right here. There it is. Yeah, so I could add this cache to one of my trips. It's already, in fact, I need to add it. I don't have to add it, but one of the trips we did, it's not all my upcoming trips are all done. All my trips are ended. So these are all the trips that are still available. They're all upcoming trips. But I can send it to Cache Tour right here. Send to Cache Tour. And boom, it would do it, and off it would go to this one, return trip for Amarillo. But we're going to build some new ones. So let's do that. Anyway, scripts, that's where that is. We're going to go to the dashboard. I want to talk a little bit about the dashboard. There's a lot of information here, and it's very there's a lot of good info. You could spend a lot of time looking at this. We're not going to do that tonight, but we are going to talk about a couple different things here. You got your recently ended trips. These are the 3 trips we took this weekend. And I split into 3. There's ways you can do sub trips. You might like to do sub trips. That may be something that you really prefer. So that's one way to do it. I prefer. I don't like sub trips, maybe because I'm still learning, but sub trips is something that can be done. I don't like to do sub trips. I like to do them separate trips. That's just me. But these are all in draft. These are all trips that we are working on for different reasons. Um, challenge lists. I've got some county trips. We have a trip to Amarillo we haven't done yet. Jesse, you built this one, the Geocache Talk Does America trip. At least we started it. We haven't gotten too far on that. Arkansas.
We were just testing.
Yeah, Arkansas counties. Those are the upcoming trips. So now there's other information here that I want to share. There's good info. The change log is really important. I like watching the change log, and let me tell you, there is something different every day in the change log. They either fix or improve or whatever. Every day, these people are working on this app, and that's something I really wanted to point out was that look how the change log, even in 2 days, they fixed a bug in the challenge checker detection, the whole other section of that. Improved admin tools, using custom parking coordinates now for route optimization. They fixed an issue causing distance from route to be wrongly calculated when using custom parking coordinates. It goes on and on and on. But I love looking at the changelog because there's always something new, something new to learn from the changelog. There's always information over here. Obviously, they are a member of they're an authorized developer of geocaching.com. Very important to see that. There's your different links as well. I mean, Cache Tour is also Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. So get out there and really check all that out. They're very active in all those areas. We're going to talk about that part in a minute. So let's get into. I think I'm going to use day 2, Jesse. My initial.
Show what a trip looks like.
Yeah, I'm going to show this
one that you've already built.
Yeah, I'm going to show this trip first, and then we're actually going to build one because I think people. It's one thing to see. It's one thing to see one, but I think people when they see it, they're like, "Oh, I can't do that." It's just they get flustered. They get flustered too easily, and I don't think. Not everybody. Some people love it. Valena was one that we mentioned earlier. Right. She loves it. She's learned it. But
it helped when you showed me the same thing. We went through the same thing before this show, obviously, and
right.
I said I'd played with it a few times. Like, oh, I love it. And we actually off the air sat through and you walked me through a couple things.
Yeah.
Now it makes perfect sense. So now I've been using it. So I can't wait to get out and use it in the field.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's so much on the screen, and we're going to talk about a couple of these again, kind of advanced things that you might be interested in. Also, I'm going to show in a minute. I'm going to show the app. The thing about Cache Tour, for me, right now I'm working on county challenges or the Texas county challenges. What I'm using it primarily for at the moment because that's what we're doing a lot. And so I use Cache Tour. I use the web page as one aspect of the trip. I used Project GC. Let's bring up Project GC real quick. Are you seeing that okay, Jesse?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, good. It's going to have to load.
Notice right at the top, it's linked in with Project GC too. So if you pull some information up like Gary's doing right now, the audio listeners.
Yep. So we filled in all this area over the weekend, and that's a lot of area. I'll have to figure out how many miles we drove, but we drove a lot of miles to get all of this green right here. Some red left. I left a spot here, this red blob here next to Abilene because we're going to take a trip over this way, get those caches, and go to Fort Worth. So we kind of left that open. We've got a Panhandle plan, part 2, to do these ones up in the corner of the Panhandle, and we're also working on this area, and really that's the entire state. We are currently at 193 counties, and so what we do is I will go in. and I'll pull up a county.
Mm-hmm.
We'll build that in a minute. Let me show you one of my built. So here's the one we built. This was day 2 of our trip. Now, one
Maybe
thing,
some of the features, like everything that it actually shows on there once you have a trip built.
yeah. So I built. This is day 2 of our trip, and a couple things about this trip that I want to point out. One is, notice how I put the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
uh, the reason that that's important to add a waypoint that is not a geocache. And notice we did a round trip. So we started at this particular hotel and we ended at this hotel. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that I think it's critical to add um, a waypoint that's not a geocache waypoint is because when I show you the app on the phone, you can click on, this case it was the Odessa Hotel. You can click on it and you can do arrived and departed. By doing that, you've set your tour in motion, and then you can tell immediately how long your tour is going to be. If you wait until you if you wait until you get to the very first cache and then
Mm-hmm.
start the tour, you kind of aren't really, you really don't have you're guessing really as to the, now it tells you down here, right here, calculate driving time without stops. For us was 10 hours and 33 minutes. Calculating driving time with stops, it was 11 hours and 23 minutes. So you do get that information prior to the start. But I like that. I want to start on the app and I want to start it with me leaving so I can know immediately the final tally. On my phone, I can see, because by doing that, when we leave the hotel, that's my point. That's my start the clock kind of thing. And then I can
Mm-hmm.
immediately look on my app and it goes, oh, my last cache is going to be at 7:29 that night. I can immediately see that. And it helps me to plan for things. Now, people might be wondering, calculating driving time with stop. I mean, what is going on there? So here's the note that they put. Cachetur.no uses a number of factors to estimate how much time it takes to find a cache. Remember, this is highly theoretical and generally will not be correct. Actually, for me, it's incredibly accurate. So it looks at the difficulty and the terrain of a
Mm-hmm.
cache, and it factors that in to the trip, which I love. So you can get a real quick idea. If you're doing all 5 5s, then every stop will be calculated accordingly. If you're doing
That's what I was
all,
asking you about. I was
yeah,
wondering what that was.
yeah, if you're all doing 1.5 1/2s. Now, this is kind of cool, Jesse. This particular trip that we did, and I'll show it in a minute. But look at the elevation gain we did that day. 12,000 feet of elevation gain. That's
How did
pretty.
you gain 12,000 feet in Texas?
We went out to near Guadalupe Peak, which is in the Rocky Mountains
Oh,
in Texas. Yeah, it's one of the highest points in Texas. So uh, obviously, it was mostly highway. It shows you there, highway. Um, it's got cool stuff. It's got the sunrise and the sunset for that day. The average length of the day
can
is,
you factor in like lunch?
yes. So one thing I need to start doing is adding in, like at some point in here, I need to
Mm-hmm.
add in, because we are stopping periodically. So you can add in points to do that. So I could add a waypoint and just call it food, and I could call it lunch. Uh, I would need to put in a coordinate for it, but
I'm going to stump you on this show. Okay, that's my goal for this show because you're an expert and I'm learning from you. So I'm going to try to stump you tonight.
so
You
I
ready?
could take lunch and I can move it up to the middle. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's your question. If I build one of these, and let's
Yep.
say me and you decide we're going to go and do something like hit a bunch of Kansas counties.
Right.
I don't know why we'd want to do it. Let's say we were.
Let's say we were.
Use the app, right? And we're going to knock out, I don't know, 25 at the northern border.
Yeah.
Me and you are going to do it together. And I'm using the app. As I go, I click, and you'll explain how to do that in the app later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Way that Christy, the CFO, could also have that app and kind of keep up with our progress along the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes. So down here toward the end, let me get to that point.
You keep me out of So that's a good thing.
Participants and invites. You can invite people right here. And you can make them, you can give them
Oh,
different
look at that.
roles. So we're going to add um, the CFO. Now you would probably want to put in example would be Memphis Mafia. Oh, there you are, Memphis Mafia. So I can put a comment. Here's the trip we're doing. Oh, I can spell. And I can make you a co-host, which you are, a participant, or an observer. So as you can see right here, co-host automatically receives all privileges when participating. Privileges may be changed later. A participant has ordinary privileges, may participate, print, clone, etc. And then if you want to give the CFO just limited access to observe, you can make them an observer. Limited access cannot join. So they can see it, but they can't really make any modifications. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so I can make you a co-host and I can send you an invitation, and there it goes.
Started giving me some good ideas for coming up. Is
Good.
there a limit to how many people can watch it?
That's a good question for somebody in the chat room.
We can figure that out. We have some experts in the chat room too, but
Yes.
you know where I'm going with this already. But we have some shenanigans that we thought about doing in the future. That
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
You could actually do that live. That would be interesting. Kind of an update on the big trip we're talking about.
You could go to the help center.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Yes, you could go to the help center. You could put in a search, and they got the. I'm being completely serious. This is the best help center in the world. I mean, it is so good. They have highlighted pages, participants. So you could go in here. If I could spell participants. Oh, I must spell it. Participants. Anyway, so you come in here, pull up the page, assign privileges participants, and you can write. You could. There's answers, recommended use of trips. You can cancel trips, sub trips, large trips. Create a new trip. That's just one of a couple pages just on participants alone.
Oh my gosh.
Collaboration with events. There you go. There's your idea. You can collaborate on some events. It goes on and on. I mean, it's. Don't be overwhelmed by this. Think of it more as just such a treasure trove of information that's so helpful. So, all right. So, why don't we get on the help thing right now? All right. So
I'm impressed. I thought I was going to stump you with that one, but that's pretty quick.
So here's real world, Jesse. Here was my plan. Okay. This was our plan. And I'll get into an explanation in a minute. So let me go back to the waypoint. So when you add a waypoint, you'll notice something. I didn't save that, so let me save the sorting of that. So I stuck lunch in the middle of this thing, and
okay.
I don't think lunch will show up as a. It won't know what to do with lunch because I didn't put a coordinate, but you get the idea. So I put in all these caches, and you'll notice that one of the first things you'll see is normally it won't have a happy face because you wouldn't have found it yet. But if you find it, it goes like that. If it's a DNF, it'll mark it as a DNF here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it'll mark DNFs as far as before you start a trip, you'll see a DNF, and that means that someone in the last 5 was probably a DNF. So that's so handy because you get it immediately. You can notice you can tell. Oh, maybe that's not a good one for this trip, but it's good information. Something else that's interesting. So see this one right here, this 79754. The interesting thing is that it's got this little icon next to it. The cache is 133 feet from the calculated route. No matter, so this is key because let's say you're wanting to do, this one's 170, not far off the calculated route, but it tells you. So you can know immediately Oh, this cache is very close, 160 feet, 760 feet from the. Yeah, I know that I know that I've found the cache that is really on my trail, on my trail, on my route. But it'll tell you, and so 120. So a lot of these I built them specifically so we could get them and move on to the next, because we're talking about a long distance. So um, notice this as well. Look at this is minus 1 hour because we went all the way to mountain time. So it lets you know that you've switched into another time zone. And then we came back out of that time zone right there. So,
So I got a question. Before we get
yep,
too far,
yep,
questions are coming up, right? So
sure.
one comment was that they thought the blue smiley face meant that the last person didn't find it, because I think you said in the last five, so we may be able to confirm that.
Yeah, let's pull that one up. This is the old Duval town site. We did not go to that one because we didn't need to. We'd already found that. So let's pull up. So here over on the side, you've got this pull down, drop down. Those are all your options. So you can add distance waypoint.
That up. I got another one for you.
Okay.
This is a good question. It's actually already been answered because that's how our chat room is, right? But
Yep.
I was so impressed by this application. I wanted to bring it up to you.
Okay.
What do you think about loading a whole geo tour in there at one time?
You can. In fact, a lot of times the tours are already built, and I can show you where those are. Some people have already built geo tours.
Put it in there. That's awesome. Why wouldn't you do a geo tour in this thing? That's a perfect route.
Perfect.
You can know exactly how long it's going to take. Getting them all. Oh my gosh, I love that idea. I think that was Ryan that brought that up. It's like a long way on the screen by now, but that's huge. Now you know. Christy's going to ask me, how long are you going to be out geocaching? Well, it turns out I'm going to be out for 8 hours and 7 minutes, and then I'll be back home. So
I tell you something. It's will blow your mind as well. People built the what am I trying to say? The adventure, the lab caches. People built a tour of the lab caches, so you can see in a glance where all the lab caches are in a map.
Nice.
So you can take a look and go, oh, how long is it going to take me to do the lab caches in Fort Worth after Woodstock? Oh, you can look right here and see. It's incredible. So let's pull this one up because we were talking about it. So this one is called the Old Duval Town Site. Let's look at them. Yep. So the last person was a DNF on it. So there you go. There's that gives you an idea that there was a DNF on that one. So critical, again. So all right. So let's close some of these. So let's go back.
So that's good information to know, though, whether it needs maintenance, a little red wrench, or whether it's DNF recently.
Exactly.
It doesn't necessarily you wouldn't want to go for it, but it's just a cautionary tale, right? You may want to have a backup.
You need to know. Yeah, it's perfect. So you can look at any of these caches and you can determine, you can upload pictures, you can get parking coordinates, you can get corrected coords here. So Jesse, I can show you another one where we did a local one where we added corrected coords because we were doing puzzles. Those can be added in so you can see immediately where those are. You can delete it. You can show it on geocaching.com. You can open it. You can show the geocaching details. You can show it on Project GC if you want to see it that way.
There's too much information here.
I know. Navigate with Waze. I use Waze, but I do it differently. I don't do it. We're on the website. The website to me is one of the tools. The app is, and this is something that I said the other day, and it's not really true, but there is an app, and I'll show you the app in a few minutes. But the app again is part of your toolbox. It's not. You're not going to be able to do everything from the app. I use the app when I'm ready to go. When it's time to hit the road, I'm not going to drag my laptop with me, but I have the app on my phone, and that's what I switch to. I switch to it so that when I go on the road, I've got it. I got it on my phone and it's ready to go. But we'll get to the app here in a second.
Yeah, and I know we want to build a brand today, but I thought of another application that one of the things jealous that you got going on right now is you got your Motley Caching crew, right? That is the
Yes.
best thing. You got a group that you go out with. But if you went to Project GC, typed in everybody's name on Map Compare,
Yep.
like you and people, it would pull up, and you had an area. It'll
Yep.
pull up a whole list of caches that y'all haven't found, any of you haven't found.
Correct.
You could just download the bookmark list and send it over to Cache Tour, and you
Right.
have a whole map route of caches that none of y'all have found.
Right.
That's perfect.
Exactly. So here's our last one. This is a couple weeks ago, the Motley Caching crew. This was the trip we did. Let me show you what we were a little busy that day, but we stayed in a general area. There's the map. So we didn't get to all of them. You can see how we missed some, but that happens. But all these others were found that day. Again, we weren't doing a lot of counties that day. We can see that. But we had corrected chords.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is telling me that it hasn't been refreshed in a while because this has been 2 weeks. So it wants you to know, it keeps track of all that. It says your data hasn't been refreshed. So if you do build something, it knows that you really haven't gotten, you're not fully up to date, and you might want to do a refresh. And you can do a refresh of it over here. You can refresh your information, I think. Let me find it. I can go over here and pull up a cache. And I can put that to go to I can't go to the MCC because it's already done, but you get the idea. All right. I'm getting sidetracked. All right. Let's go back. So much good stuff here. Go back to day 2. So, all right. So I showed that. So let's actually build one. And before we do, let me stop sharing for a moment. Let me stop the screen for a minute. All right. So let's talk for a minute. Let me get caught up. Let me catch my breath.
I know this is so much, but we knew it was going to be like this.
Yeah. So couple things, and thanks R. Reagan for being there. He's answering questions. I know a lot of people are answering questions, but
they're doing great answering these questions in here in the chat room.
Yeah. Always viewable. They're under ended trips. Thank you. A lot of good info. That's good info there. Ended trips drop out of view after about a week. So good information. So like I said, you've got I'm working from Project GC. I'm pulling it into Cache Tour. But you don't have to do it that way. And we're going to show you a way to do it where you don't have to we're going to do a little bit more simplified version because I want people to start using this app because it is so much, there's so much great stuff there. So
I'm excited. I'm ready to build one.
So Scott's already mad at me because he wants me to stay on track and not get sidetracked. But hey, that's the way it works around here.
Ambassadors and developers here, so we can push through this. They can help us answer these questions.
Exactly. So on your app, on your phone, you can get the cachetur app right there. So what I do is there's the one that this is day 3. And so what I did was, again, we start at the beginning and you can pull up on the app the information about, let me reset it to where I haven't departed yet. At the very top, it's got arrived and departed right there. Arrived and departed. It's got some basic information about the cache. But what I do is I will have the cache. Let me reset this. So I'll pull up the first cache. There was the first cache for that day. And if you look, I've got the basic information on this cache is right there in front of me. It's got the name of it. It's got DNL. It's got the difficulty in terrain. It's got, if we could get it to focus a little bit, let me get a little closer. Maybe we'll do it. Hidden, who is hidden by, the date. It's got how many miles to get to that cache at that time. It's got the actual coordinates. It says It's behind the name. It gives the hint if you don't want, if you know, the hint's there. I guess there's a way you can turn that off. So down here, you can see there's notes, open, and map. I click open. It goes to our wonderful Cachly.
Oh,
Cachly,
wow. That is very cool.
Cachly pops it up, and there's the cache ready to go. So then what I do, of course, is I go to me personally. I go there. Of course, I'm a long way from there now from the time, but then I go here and I go to, I pull up in Cachly. That's a Cachly show, but you can go in there. You can pick your favorite app to use. I use Waves, and it pulls up Waves, and off we go.
There you go.
Tells me how long it'll take me to get there.
I love it.
It's all built. So then I can go back to Cachly at any time. I'm ready to go, so forth. So that's, to me, that's genius in the fact that you've got the app on your phone, because again, you're not going to have this information in front of you. It's well, you might, but more than likely it's on your laptop or your computer at home. You need to use the app, because when you're out on the road, it's right here. Offline lists, we'll talk about that another sometime, obviously. But all right. Yes, Stacy uses it on her GC Droid. Same thing. Just translate it, right, Stacy? Just translate all that.
Mm-hmm.
Use it on an Android, use it on an iOS, whichever
Right.
flavor phone you have. Absolutely,
Yeah, we're
both.
not GC Droid. We're just both iOS people, so we use it all the time.
But she's exactly right. That's a good point, Stacy, is that it works on both. So don't feel like it's just one or the other. So, all right, let's build one.
Let's do it. Let's build one. And we're going to stay on task and focused.
So, Scott, I think I was on focused.
Please. There's too much information here for us to be focused.
There is too much. You're right. So, all right. Here we go. So let me share my screen again. Here we go. I'll try, Scott. I really will. Okay, trips. We're going to create a new trip.
Mm-hmm.
This trip name is going to be Geocache Talk Show number 156. Different types of trips: hiking, car, bike, ski, boat, a long trip. We're going to call it a car trip just to make it for tonight. A destination, we're going to say, let's use Mingo, Kansas, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull that up. All right. Time has not been decided, but you can put in your exact start and date time for that. Your time zone, we're in Central Time Zone. That'll work. You can put in other information, but for now, for this, we're just going to save the trip. All right, trip is saved. No real information yet because we're going to get started. So we're going to add waypoints. Again, what I would suggest is you put in a lodging point or whatever. You can put your home, and you can pick something else for a starting point. You can make it a stage or whatever you want to call it. Use whatever you like. Meeting point. You put your home.
Which would be good if you're meeting people at your house, like a group trip.
Yeah. So coordinates. So go pull chords. Pull up Google Maps. And let's use Walmart here locally. So there's Walmart. Copy to clipboard. You can do it different ways. Get the information. Go put your coordinates in. I think you can also put in that kind of information. It'll figure it out for you.
Oh, let's see what happens.
So there's home. So let's add another waypoint. So let's go pull up geocaching.com and let's grab some caches. Pull up a current map. Let's throw Mingo in there because we're going to go all the way to Mingo. So let's let's do a search.
Let's see how fast this happens. What is the GC code for Mingo? You know they're going to know it. Everybody knows it. And I bet half the people in the chat room know what it is. Don't pull it up.
Oh, I already know it. But I was going to
see how fast people can get it in the chat room.
And they put it.
They're stumbling. Nobody's getting it.
Come on, people.
Bingo. Okay. Ryan knew it. Cheater. GC30. So are you going to start with GC30?
Yeah, but we'll put GC30 in. Oh, look, there's an event there. What's going on?
Oh, look at that. No.
It's a different event. Oh, wait, there's a mega nearby. That's something different. All right, so let's pull up Mingo. All right, so yeah, this is kind of so you can go pull the information.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
that's one way to do it, right? You can scroll down and just do it automatically too, can't you?
Yeah, you could automatically do it, but for those that haven't got all the other things done,
that would be how they would do it.
I will show you. Yeah, you can go in here. You don't have to have all the other stuff. You can just go geocache, put it in, add waypoint, and you could build your trip without anything else. You can just build the trip using that information. So let's go pull some caches in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back. So I don't know. This is a separate event. They're somebody having an event out there here, 8:10. But yes, let me activate cachetur. So, all right. So So now I go in here. I can do. So notice it shows it Geocache Talk Show 156 right there. I just do send. When I sent it, if you'll notice, if we go over here and look at it, do a refresh. So there it is. Sometimes it takes. Yeah, that easy. So it might take it a minute to pull it up. So it might show it. This one was quick, but we'll pull up some other ones. So as you can tell, it's already they're actually having an event out at Mingo, so that doesn't really. Yeah. So let's build some more. It shows you the region, what county it is, so forth. So let's go back.
The other oldest cache out there,
Arikari.
People also know, yeah. Arikari,
Arikari. Yeah. So
just ask him how to say
it. I think it's Arikari, but I agree. It's sort of one of those things that
32 or something.
Yeah. So yeah, but we can go out and load it this way as well. Either way, however you want to do it. So it's up here near the corner, right? Right up here. You found that one.
I have not found that one.
Oh, you've not? Oh man.
I think I'm going to do it next summer. I might be going out to summer, so.
We were going to, and we got
GC31.
Is it 31?
Yeah.
Okay. We were going to go do that one, and we didn't. It didn't fall in the cards. So, there's an Earth cache there too, Jesse. How about that? You excited?
I am. So somebody said, one of the ambassadors said that you don't have to select geocache first. After typing GC,
yes,
it will automatically set it to geocache. So there's another little time-saving trip.
Yeah. So are they saying in here?
Mm-hmm. If you're adding another waypoint.
Yeah, you could just
GC31. You don't have to select that.
Oh, you don't have to put it like that?
No, he said, so you select the geocache first as a type. If you just jumped over there and put in GC31, it would already know it's a geocache and select that for you.
Oh, okay. So if I just do this and I go GC31?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. How about that? Oh, yeah. So that's cool. So you don't even have to, you can save a moment and you don't even have to put in that. You just put GC and automatically goes to, yep. Cool. So we can add that waypoint. All right. So one thing that I think is cool about this, we're going to add some more because I want you to get an idea of what it's like. So okay, so you notice there's no route built yet, right? Let's add a
Right.
couple. Let's add some more because then you'll get an idea of what we're really it's critical. So let's go caches I haven't found that are near there. So let's just grab another one. Let's grab the Earth cache. That's not a good example, but let me send that one to Cache Tour. Let's go do a whole bunch of these. Let me go back because
Spread them out a little bit so it'll be.
yeah, we can. Let me go throw that one in there,
Yeah.
and let's
Audio
go.
listeners, right now, random caches on the list around it, so
Yep,
we can build a map.
yep. So let's grab this one, 3/4 virtual cache. That's a little ways away, so let's grab that one. Let's throw that in there. Oh, cool. All right, so now we do a refresh. And what you'll see is we've got caches down here. We've got some up here. No route yet. What's going on? Well, it takes a little while for it to build a route. You have to kind of give it some time. So let me scroll back up. It'll build them pretty quick. So if we just do a refresh, you'll see that it'll start building a route. You can also order a route. So if I don't like the order of this, I can make changes. I can change the sorting. So right now, this is the sorting we currently have. And let's say we like that. So we're going to go ahead and edit. We're going to order a new route calculation. So it's going to do a route calculations in progress. Estimates 2 to 10 minutes, but it's quick. So let me do a refresh, and you'll probably see a route already probably built. Not quite yet. So sometimes more quicker than others. So
what that will build the route that they think is the fastest route, optimized to go to those caches.
Well, it'll build the route based on what I currently have. Now, what you can do though is you can tell it the type of route that you want. So in this case, I've got these waypoints, and I'm like, I don't know what's best. I'm going to use my home as the start, but I'm not sure what the best way to route these things. I don't want to necessarily guess at it. So you can go in, you can tell it. You can go to edit, and you can tell it, pardon me, that you want to sort and prioritize your waypoints. So here's how you can tell it the type of what you want. Do you want to sort them alphabetically? Probably not. You can sort your distance from the start. And since we kind of know where we want to start, we're going to say we like that idea. You can also do a reverse. You can reverse the order. You can also make priorities. We're not going to really get into priorities tonight. We're going to have time. But you can tell it this is a higher priority. So this is your priorities. But we like this idea of sort by distance from start. And so we're going to save that. So now it's going to figure out that maybe that's not the best way to go. So there you go. So it built a route based on the information. Notice it's got these right here. Let me go back up. 6, 7. So, but you can tell it if you want to do it differently. You can tell it to do it a little differently. So
it sounds like there might be a limit on how many you can do in one trip.
I don't know. Like I said, I've done quite a few in one trip. Tom Frey's building one for a whole. He's built a really large. Let me stop sharing because I'm kind of it gets to be. Let me remove that screen. All right.
Like Eric in the chat room was asking about that, a limit, or somebody they're talking about a limit. Like I know he owns a GeoArt trail that's 115 Waragos. Just happen to know that because I may have visited it. If he was wanting to build that route, he would have to build 2 routes, right?
Well, it says Plato Attic says you have more than if you have more than 80 waypoints, you don't necessarily need separate subtrips. So that's good to know.
You just need to limit the sort to 80 at a time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a way to do it. That's good.
And Tom Frey's right. Why would you ever want to do that? I don't know. Unless maybe there was, I don't know.
A challenge to get all A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I guess. pick a start, stop, not to exceed 80. So there's a good.
So this is pretty cool. This could be something that somebody did. Like if somebody owns a big trail, they may want to publish this out there for people. Like this is the route. This is how long it's going to take you.
Sure.
Click on this link on the first one of these. It can give you an idea of how long. That's really good information for a cash owner to put out there.
Yeah, exactly. Vlada's got some information.
Like
usually have the one I want to be the first number one and the one I want last, and go to edit, sort, and prioritize. Yep, that's exactly right. It gives you an idea.
yeah.
I want to start here, and somehow I want to end at this one. And by doing that, I know I want to start here, and I know I kind of want to finish here. Build it for me in between, so you can do that part. So, all right, let's get something away because we've been going now for quite a while. So let's do that. All right,
it'll have the route, and we can. Okay.
Yeah. What do you say, Jesse? Let's give something away. We're gonna give away one of the Cash Tour tags. They're very new, and so we're going to give one of them away. So Jesse, I'm going to have you watch better than I the chat room. So everybody be ready for the question. So here it is. First person to answer. Thanks, Scott. Scott says I'm doing good. So appreciate you, buddy. That one was maybe more clear. I'm trying to stay on top. I was trying to stay on.
And we're going to finish. We're going to get to it in a minute after we give something away.
Yeah, we're giving some away. So here we go. Here's the question. How is cachetur.no funded? I need the answer. First person to answer that question will win. How is Cachetur, the website, and probably the app too, how is that funded?
All right, Gary, you're going to have to help me watch this one, okay?
I'm watching best I can.
Because my internet's slow and I don't want to pick the wrong person.
How is it funded? I think we have an answer. Was she first?
It looks like she was first.
Valena, you have one. And you are correct. It is by donation. Let me show you something real quick too. So let me go back and share my screen again real fast.
Tom said with money.
With money. That's correct. No.
Answer, but so everybody pretty much got that answer right. It came in the chat room. There was a question before of who came in first, who typed it first. It came in first on our chat room, so that's who we're picking.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that everybody had an idea that that's how they actually are funded.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
It is. And so I want to show that real fast. Again, time-wise, let me share the screen. Am I sharing the screen? Yeah, okay. Let me do a full screen just for a second. All right. Over here on the page, if you go back to the dashboard, over here, I have contributed. So it shows you're a contributor. But monthly, there's your monthly goal. And it shows you different ways you can contribute right there. And PayPal, so forth, so on. They have a donate card thing you can do, etc. And you're like, well, I can't do that in Norway money. You don't have to. It's done for you right here, also in euros. So there you go, all explained for you. But it's well worth it, in my opinion, to go ahead and donate a little bit. Give them $5. I don't know, whatever. But please support them. This is the only way they're doing it. They don't have Patreon. They don't have other ways to do that. So donate today to Cachetur and help them out. So, all right. A couple things also I want to point out before we kind of start to wrap up tonight. Up here at the top, you've got a little bell notification, kind of a bell notification, I guess. It kind of gives you information as far as what it has done recently. Notice Jesse talks about the calculation of the route was completed. It gives you that information. It's up to date. Make sure the time zones are changed if we need to. Maybe one of our waypoints is in Mountain Time, so it shows that. And then you can always mark it as red when you're all said and done. So Um, so let's go to our trip again. Geocache Talk show. Here's the show, or here's
Mhm.
the here's the different events or the different waypoints we have.
You really should have named that. That's for another show.
That's for another show. Yeah, we should have.
Just maybe you could have kept saying it.
Total distance 130 miles.
Ooh.
Um, again, driving times, the elevation gains, all that information is in there. If you don't like if you don't want this in there, it tells you the time. That's kind of cool. So let's say you want to take that one out. You can just go over here, delete it right there. If you want to take it out, if you want to move that to another, let's just take that one out. Then we'll just take that one out so you get an example. All right. You want to mix these up. You don't like the way this is set up. You want to change this cache. You think that the route needs to be changed. Let's remove that one. That's not really going to make any sense. But so then you can go back up here. You can delete the generated route, or you can just order a new route calculation. Give it a moment. It shows you that the route's been calculated. And now that we've removed stuff, you notice that things will have changed. So there you go. There's still starts us there. One, it wants to go up here, which makes sense. They're all together. So we'll go back. Let's see, I did a full screen. Let's go back.
So essentially, what we've done is you've picked some caches. Let's say you have all the plugins.
Yeah.
You'd probably either start with Project GC if you're looking for counties, or if you're just looking for an area, you could do it off geocaching.com. Either way would work, but you just start selecting them and sending them to your list.
Yep.
Then you go to your list, order your routes, check and make sure you like the route, and that's it. You have everything planned out, right?
Right. You could also, again, I think Project GC such a game changer. That one and Cache Tour. So let's say oh, I want to add this cache right here. You can just click and look. There's the Cache Tour icon right there. I don't have to pull up anything. I can just go save it, and it's sent it. So now if we go back to the tour, right, and there it is. It's right. It hasn't fetched it yet. Yeah. So there. Crazy. So a lot of times you'll see that Cache Tour is not fetched yet. It's working on it. But that fast, I added a cache from Project GC to Cache Tour, so you can make these pretty quick. So it's working on figuring out what to do with that cache. So, but there you go. There it is. Sorry, it's on. It's been added.
Well, and you got from geocaching. So.
Right. I mean, more than likely you wouldn't do it that way because you probably want to know if that's something you really want to add or not. So you probably want to go here, look at the cache. Is this something I really want to add? Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea.
But if you're really getting advanced with it, and this may get a little bit into the Project GC show, which again is for another show, but we're going to get to a really advanced Project GC.
Yes, we are.
Project GC. That's hard to say.
It is.
But one of the neat things Project GC does is it'll sort for challenges. It'll sort for, like, if you're working on Jasmer, if you're working on Fizzy, it'll map just the ones that you need in your area.
Right.
You could port that whole thing straight over and see how long it would take you to work on a certain section of those, and just pull out what you can do. So there's some pretty advanced things by combining Project GC and Cache Tour that you can do,
right,
and really target some of your geocaching trips.
Yep. We want to take a quick moment and hear from one of our sponsors. The Geocache Talk Show is brought to you by Cachely. Cachely loads quickly, has a clean look to the cache icons on the map, easily reveals which caches are ready to be found, including lonely cache icons. Also, caches clearly show the last 5 logs at a glance. Great customer service, offline lists and maps, pocket query access, and the list just keeps going. Cachely, the foremost IO geocaching app. All right. So where are we at? we've covered quite a bit. Yep.
Covered quite a bit. We're not even really going to get into the possibilities because there's so many. We wanted to show different route, right? But also, if you're really combining Project GC or geocaching.com, from geocaching.com, you could pull a bookmark list, right?
Right.
If you had a bookmark list, you could pull that all straight over to there.
Yes.
Applications like GeoTours, or if you're using Project GC, the map compare. So if you're going out caching with it, you can put the whole group in there, build your whole plan, share that with everybody, and then everybody has the app as you're going through. You pull it out, or if you have spouses or significant others of any type at home, you could share the route. You see exactly where you are as you're going through. It really brings that, because it talks about hiking as well, right? So there's other trips that could be combined in there. But this is really a really advanced way to, and I'm not a good planner, but I think even with this, I might have a hope of planning decently. But a really good way of planning out and maximizing a geocaching trip and being accurate, right? Because I'm assuming, and here's another one I'll try to stump you with, but I already know you know the answer to this. Let's say I get to one and it's a 1-1, but for me, it's a tree hide. And it's one of those stupid green bisons that I cannot find in a tree because they're invisible to me.
Right.
And it takes 45 minutes for a 1.5. Now what do I do? Does it throw my whole thing off, or does it adjust for that?
It'll let you know. In fact, let me show you in the app. So as you're going, at the very bottom of the screen, let's see if I can show this. It'll show you how you're doing. So in this case, it shows that I'm about 37 minutes ahead of schedule. Usually I'm always behind because I always forget to add in lunch or gas stops or all that. But it gives you a general idea. It'll talk to you too. It'll tell you, if you click on it, it'll say you are. I like clicking on it and bother the Motley Caching crew. I'll click on it. Goes, you are 25 minutes behind schedule, and they'll be like, Gary, stop it! Just stop it! I'm like, I click on the button. You are 25 minutes behind schedule. It's like, but yeah, it'll tell you how you're doing on your trip.
See how you are compared to your So one thing that we kind of didn't think of, a couple things that have come up in the chat room real quick, is one, there's also, you can use it with GSAC. Neither one of us use GSAC. I didn't bring that up, but a lot of people do, so you can.
Yeah, good point. That's what Bruce Wayne mentioned, that there's always there's a macro in GSAC for GSAC users.
And then Stacy Weaver brought up that there's also good stuff to print, like notes and cache description. And some people do. People cache in tons of different ways, right? And a lot of times when I'm doing a big trip, I will do some backup printing out of some pages and stuff like that. And this has got everything there. So if you're one of those type of cachers, you can print all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. You can override the estimated time for a cache if it's too long or not enough, Jesse. So
there you go. There is a way to adjust it. Very cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's there because it gives me an idea of where I'm at. Christine mentions that there's in trip settings, you can add extra time for each cache if you wish.
And you know exactly what you're doing, which is trying to race that little clock constantly.
Right.
But I can do 20.
That's right. So it's nice. There's so many little notes. Scott mentioned that, cache route GSK is the new usable GSAC macro. The Google macro no longer works. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh my! Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. Again, Tom mentions that he registered with Cachetur and got Waze on his phone. I prefer those. You can do them different ways. You can do different. You can use them different way. Different. I like using Waze. Some people like Apple, whatever you want to use. But I like the fact that it's all on my phone. I mean, to me, that is incredible. To me, Cachetur is unbelievable already. But the fact that I can have it on my phone and I can start the. I mean, with that, it's incredible.
That's
I
great.
mean, I can immediately tell. I can click, and Stacy brought up a good point. It's like you forget sometimes to click on the uh, arrival departed. I tend to do those at the same time. Some people, I guess the idea is like you're talking about, Jesse, is you show up at a spot to find a cache, you click arrival, and then you go look. And when you're done, you click departed. And we tend to go. Of course, we're doing them fast and furious right now, is because we're doing so much travel. Is we'll show up at a spot, we'll find it, and as I'm looking to start to pull up my next cache, I click arrival departed, and we're moving on. So you can use it how you wish. At least by clicking on it, it puts a timestamp of when we sort of left the spot. So it depends on how granular. It's a tool. It's don't.
Right. You can do a lot of things, however you want to cache with it.
Right. And we've talked about before, and people know this. It's a standard thing, and that is you have the tool. You use the tool. Don't let the tool use you.
Right.
You want to use it. It's all that great information is there, but the cachetur people will tell you want to use it. And you don't have to click arrival depart. Like I said, you don't need to do it for every cache. If you don't want to, you can do it however again, you want to use the tool. That's what the tool is there for. Use it how you prefer. And again, you'll find it invaluable. Susan and I could not have done what we have done without this tool, especially on Sundays, because on Sundays I need to be back here so we can do the show. And like today, we started in San Angelo, and we drove south of San Angelo. We picked up some counties, and we made a loop around, and we came all the way home. So that's a long way. If you go look it up on a map, I mean, from Santa, that's not necessarily that far per se, but that was the final day. The other days we want to do a lot of them. I mean, we wanted 15 counties, West Texas counties, which are enormous. But without cachetur, I think we would have been intimidated by how long we would think it might take us. But when you put them all in and it says, nope, it will take you 12 hours to do this. And you're like, okay, it says 12 hours. It looks daunting. It looks like we couldn't get all the way. We went from Odessa, Texas, all the way to El Paso. We're almost in New Mexico at that point. Made a big circle, came all the way back, and we were back in Odessa for dinner. But when you look at a map, if you don't have a tool, you're going to look at that and you're going to go, it's going to be late, and it's going to be midnight before we get back. But it wasn't, because we planned it. So we left. Of course, we left early. We were 12 hours. So we let's leave at 8 a.m. We'll get started. I mean, you're familiar with this kind of planning.
Oh.
And we're not going to get an offline list and all that. We did run into several locations out there where we had zero signal. I mean, we had nothing for miles. There was no signal. But we were able to stop again because of I don't use a GPSR. I know people are like, how can you live without one? But Jesse and I both have lived without a GPSR now for years. We don't need one. We have a GPS right here.
Yeah, and guess what? GPSR is not running cachetur, so
right.
There's some advances you can have because of the smartphone.
Absolutely, and offline, just offline map it, and there it is. You can, there were several caches that we found because, again, they were on our offline map, and we were ready to go. So let's see. Carl, thank you so much. Carl's been a huge help for all of us. Download a trip package with a GPX for my Garmin. Okay, he does it that way, and then one lets my Garmin route me for cache. That's good, Carl. That's a good point, because that's something that Jesse and I don't do. So I'm glad that you're there to kind of help.
For people that cache that way.
Absolutely. So if you're not somebody like Jesse or I that would use that, if you still have a GPSR, more power to you. And there's
Mhm.
ways to do it. Carl just mentioned, Plato Attic mentioned he's been using cachetur to finish off of Virginia counties this weekend, 1,000 miles in over 3 days. That is incredible. Um,
Good with
so
that's a good one.
Stacy, I'm just waiting for icons before plotting my trip. That's good. That's good. That's good information. Yeah. All right. Well, we're starting to wrap up. We got one more giveaway here in a minute. I don't know, Jesse. What have I forgotten?
So, well, I think we jammed in as much as we could real quickly for this.
We
Again,
did.
we did the basics. So there's tons of videos, and they have a blog too that
Yes.
has a lot of information on it, and you can get all the basics starting. What we really wanted to encourage people to do is kind of, as like we've said before, like you've been on fire recently with going after. You have a new goal, and you're going crazy. You found more caches than you have in a long time. Traveled more distance than you have in a long time.
Yeah.
And you're able to do a lot of this because of this cache tour. You're using cache tour, and you're just you're planning your trips. That's the difference between I got 20 this weekend or I got 15 this weekend. When you're
Right.
going for 254, that adds a lot of extra weekends. Being a lot more efficient is important. Um,
Yeah.
Plus your motley cache crews. I mean, this is a really advanced tool that,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just going out and finding one randomly, you're not going to use this. But if you're
Right.
planning a day and you're going out and you're trying to do some really targeted caching, using this in combination with Cachly or GSAC, whatever, and Project GC or whatever you use, and you use it in combination with everything, you're talking about some really advanced caching abilities and planning abilities, and it can take some of that stress out. So
Yep.
I think it's a great tool, and I'm also really curious to see. I've been following yours, but you haven't. You're not
Yeah.
sharing those out with everybody.
Right.
I'd be interested to see how some other people are using it too. So if you
Yeah.
can send that to us, geocachetalk@gmail.com. After your trip's over, I don't want to go stalking you or anything like that. We're not going to do that, but you don't know. I might show up at a cache when you're there, since
There
I know
you
your
go.
time. Now,
Perfect.
send it in, and I'd really like to see, and we can share some of those really advanced tips for people because there's some great uses for this tool. My mind was going 100 miles an hour thinking about some of the stuff that I'm going to
Tell
use it
you.
for.
Yeah.
I know the squirrels are going, but I really want to see what everybody else is using it because we're talking about going to the next level. So
Yeah. Something Jesse I didn't tell you about. I did join Slack. It is something that I'm not real familiar with, but I got on Slack, and Rich is pointing out that you can get in the Slack chat for more interactive help experiences. Man, I'm out of my element completely, but I got on there and I was able to get Slack to work on my phone. Again, I'm not the greatest at not the person probably to ask about Slack, but I do have Slack. And you can get into Slack and you can look at all the interactions going on even right now with Slack. They're talking. It's kind of like it's like a separate chat going on, and you can interact with all the folks in Norway or all over the world who are helping with um, with the app. Um, so it's incredible. There's a couple different ways you can look at that, and so that's critical to be able to use these different tools. So
one last question in the chat room, and this brought up a question that I wanted to know too.
yeah,
So can you do public trips still? Did that change, or like can you search for trips in your open trips in your area, or is there some way to? I think there's a password or something on there. Do you know much about
I
that?
do not. That's a good question for the chat room folks. There are public lists. I don't know how much of that. I can show those real quick because I know we're running out of time. Let me share my screen one last time.
And Lori said she's going to be using it for Tri Cities Coin Challenge in Washington. I'd be very interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So Jesse, here's an example of the GeoWoodstock Labs are in the
Yeah. So it says no public trips. Okay.
they're in the public list though. Here's the public list showing. There's a listing of all the lab caches.
Okay.
Over there. Some of the ones that we found are not all showing up, but there's one we found. Oh, that's Geo Woodstock. Uh, you can go. There's a couple different lists out here. The JFK 50, which is really cool, very, very interesting. The JFK 50 is the Geo Trail that's out there, um, and so you can go look at that list. We found pretty much all of them. We missed one, but we got enough for the. So we did all those. Gives you an idea of how much the where to go for that. Give you a really good quick at a glance look at different type of trails. Okay, how far is it? What's it going to look like?
Yeah.
Um, Maze art. Here's a maze art somebody's publicly listed. Um, so this is here's one. Oh yeah, you remember that we talked about that one. Um, these
Oh,
are this is part of when Geo Woodstock was here. They did a geo art, one of the many geo arts. They did also another one, which was a steer, which was kind of cool looking geo art. But
bringing up templates, too, which I think is something that people are going to have to explore in there as well. So
yeah,
there's a bunch of templates. Yeah.
right.
There's so much to this tool. I think I'm really going to be excited to see
Trip templates.
how
Yep.
the listeners and everybody else are really using it, because I think we could sit here all day and not come up with all the ideas, right? People are
No.
going to use it in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. But I want really the goal tonight. There's the trip templates. The really the goal tonight um, is something that I guess wasn't really it kind of disturbed me in that we started talking about Cache Tour, and we've done this is our second show, but as we talked about that we were going to do a show about Cache Tour and starting to interact with folks. Some of them, Valena uses it. I mean, there was several people we talked to who we knew were using it, but there was a lot of people that I was interacting with who were like, I started to use it one day and I couldn't figure it out and I gave up.
Right.
I did not want. I wanted us to get past that, and so I wanted to. We could have had and we'll have them on some point. We'll have the experts on. Trust me.
Right.
We'll do another Cache Tour. We'll have the folks from Norway. We'll have Carl or Tom Frey or Plato. All these different people that are out there. We'll have them on. They're the experts. They can give you better answers than I've given you. But I wanted the point tonight was I wanted to get us to a point where we would not have this. I pulled it up. I looked at it. I couldn't figure it out. I gave up.
Yeah.
I wanted a, a, a somewhat novice who's used it to show you that it can be done. That somebody who's not an expert. That was my point tonight. Was that Stacy has she asked a lot of questions when she started. I kind of did too. Some Stacy. I'd run into a snag and I would send a note off to them and I'd get a response back so quickly. And it was like, I think my first thing was like, how do I fix the routes? How do I, and like, I'm not figuring this out yet. And they're like, oh, well, let me explain. And they're able to, to do different things and how you get past that. And so, yeah, she points out there's a tutorial video. Oh, let me find it. Where was it? The tutorial videos help is good, and support staff they are excellent. You were exactly right, Stacy. You got to get past that. Use it a little if you want to get started, and you don't feel comfortable yet, or if you feel like you're ready to go, use it for bigger things as you go. You want to use it for bigger things. So, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Final thoughts, and we're gonna give one last giveaway. Jesse, I'm gonna let you give some final thoughts, and we're gonna do a giveaway.
So I'm just responding to the chat room there. The
You're
chat
fine.
room is flying.
I
There's
know.
tons of ideas. Giving me tons of ideas too. I got one that I want to bring up to you after the show. I don't want to say it yet in case we can't do it, but
Right.
we'd already talked about some other ideas. I'm going to really start using it now because planning is. I'm not a planner, right? We all know that. I'm just kind of a fly by the seat of your pants, just jump out and figure it out as we go. But
CFO
this would, yeah,
CFO loves you for that. Go ahead.
yeah. But she's an excellent planner. But now we could work together. We could plan some of these trips, and me and some of my buddies will do the trips where we car camp and do all this other stuff. And this would give us more of a realistic idea of what we can do as we go, and really advanced trips, even not for those big trips, but just for cashing with somebody else on the weekend, and we want to go out and hit a bunch. Or
Yeah.
Christy and I do the geo date where we just pick a random direction and
Right.
go. But we can find an actual diner and go and do this and do a routes and stuff.
And add it.
And
Yeah.
it's next level planning.
That's the beauty of you can add all that in. I mean, that's the cool thing. You can add a hiking trip. You want to cache to a point, and this is, good example is your latest blog post. I loved, by the way. But you're talking about you wanted to go out. It was a good post to go but that's a good example of we're going to do some caching, but we're also going to do some hiking, and we're going to use and so we want to be able to use a tool where you can combine all that. We can add in the car trip, we can add in the waypoints for the hiking, we can add in the geocaches, the couple of geocaches we're going to do while we're hiking. We can add back in all that information. We can add in our trip to dinner. We're going to add our trip home. We're going to add all that can be added in one tour, and that's something we can't even get into tonight. We don't have time, but think of it as a tool that you can use for all of that. Right. And when you put all that together, and you understand this because you do a lot of hiking out in the woods and stuff. It's like people go, so Jesse, we're going to go. So somebody asks your friend asks you, so we're going to do this trail, and we're going to find a couple caches, and we're going to go here. We're going to go to dinner. So what time am I going to be home? I mean, how are you, sometime late that night. I have no idea. But if you really needed to give somebody a fairly accurate time, you can kind of give them a better idea. And so that's another big tool. So, all right. So last, we gave away one.
This one's going to be the email one, right?
This is the email. Yeah. Between now and July 14th, actually it'll be July 13th, Saturday. I need the answer. We need the answer to this question. And you're going to really have to go back and listen because it's in the show, but you're going to have to listen, and it's a tricky one. But we want you to give us the combined years that Jesse and I have been geocaching. Send that.
Not in the chat.
They'll put it in the chat. Yeah, you can put it in the chat, but somebody else will take it and send it in. So don't put that in there. You want to send us an email, geocachetalk@gmail.com, and tell us what is the combined years. And we talked about at the beginning, and that's why I wanted to put one of the points I had was let's make sure we get this exactly right because people are going to have to be able to see it. Send us that before July 13th, and you will be eligible to win a Cache Tour trackable. All right. Well, 65 years. That's rough, Eric. Combined. Ouch. I guess combined we could only have we could have 40. No.
Not even 40.
Not yet. Not quite yet. But no, that's not right. Yeah, your math is terrible, Eric. But all right. So next couple weeks. Next week we're doing a show going caching. We're going to talk about going caching 2019. Sounds funny, but it's the mega going caching We're going to be visited that night by the Waysiders. They're going to share what's coming up soon. You need to get your will attend in for going caching. Jesse is planning to be there, right?
I will absolutely be there.
Yes.
There will probably be some live shows from there. There'll probably be a bunch, but I may even be participating in one of the breakout sessions. Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, there you go. So show next week with the Waysiders. In 2 weeks, we've got that special show.
Can't wait.
Can we even say? Do you want to say who our guest is?
We can say where they work.
Okay, our guest in 2 weeks works for Geocaching HQ, and they're going to share the details. And that is all we're going to say about that.
The DLC will start after that.
And yes, the patrons are going to go crazy. They're already going crazy. I made a note. I said something that, and they're like, tell us, what's the answer? It's like, I can't do it yet, but just hang on. So they're excited, but everybody else will be excited too. You'll find out how you can be involved as well, possibly. 3 weeks, Daniel Flieger, our friend in Germany, will be with us, and he's going to share with us a story. It's story time with Daniel. He's going to share with us the story of the longest multicache in the world. And he's going to talk about that. Also, I'm sure he'll talk about he had Joshua over there again and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm sure they had a great time, and we'll get to hear more stories from him about his trip over there. And so Daniel will be with us in 3 weeks. So, all right. Well, hope you enjoy the show tonight. Emails, comments, give us your answer to the question, geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is facebook.com/geocachetalk. Show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify even, as well as the Geocache Talk website, geocachetalk.com. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, and it's on your side, Jesse. I can't even point to it. It's over on your side. Nope. Yep. Yes. It's the subscribe button. I know it is. And when we're split screen, I can't reach over and.
Oh, look, you can reach over, and then I'll do this.
Right, there you go, like that. It's awesome. Yeah, we have to coordinate that one.
Yeah, we're going to work on that one.
We'll have to work on that one. And click on the bell notification so that you will. It'll remind you when the show is on, because we might do a show in the middle of the week sometime. Who knows? It's always possible. But that will let you know, and then you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. I mean, that's important. Get the word out. Tell at least one person this week about this podcast and how they can enjoy it either on YouTube or they can enjoy it just the audio podcast if they want to do it that way. Until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Get you out there, get an account set up. Cachetur, cachetur.no, cachetur.no. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention those. Terraviator mentioned that there are Easter eggs out there too. There are Easter eggs, cachetur.no. So get out there, set up an account, and get started, and then go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.